Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Facebook Live here, Emerge Wrestling. We're getting ready for the biggest show of the year, Downtown Throwdown 3 on 4th Street, presented by Emerge Wrestling and Q-Mix. My name is Casey Johnson, and at this time, I don't really want to waste any time. Let's welcome in the commissioner of Emerge, the man who sits right here every single time we do one of these, Mr. Khris Lowe. How are you today, Khris?
Pretty good. I got my seat.
Yep, you got your seat, and that's good. That's one of the reasons I bring you in first, is because you're very particular about your seats.
Well, yeah.
So, how are you feeling about Downtown Throwdown 3 coming up?
Nervous, excited, mainly excited.
Can you move the microphone a little closer to your
How
face?
about that?
Yeah, right there is better.
Yeah, nervous, excited, mainly excited.
Mainly excited. So,
You?
I am really, really excited. I was rewatching our free match of the month that had just released, Scotty and Ace, a couple days ago, and you know as well as I do, when there's a break in between an Emerge show, then it's kind of easy to get yourself out of it, and there's a tendency to get yourself unpsyched about it. But I was watching that match a couple days ago, reviewing some of the footage from our last show, and I am all ready for it again. And we got a great card to talk about, but before that, we've got to bring in our third member. Now, usually sitting right here is A.W. Lurch, my commentary partner. But he is not here, as if you were watching our last show, he is on assignment right now. Can you... Where is he at?
I can't really say at this time, but let's just say he's helping to scout new talent. That's all I'm going to say for now.
All right, seems fair enough. Well, taking his place is a man that more than fills his shoes. We're talking about a former Outbreak champion. We're talking about a former #1 contender to the Emerge Championship, and I think somebody who's going to hold that title in quite possibly the very near future, of course. Kaliber is joining us today, and I think this is going to be a good one, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I got my seat over here. I'll fill it in nice for A.W. Lurch.
Yeah. So I guess now that we have you here, let's talk a little bit about the card. And, of course, Commissioner Lowe has it pulled up. There's been one small change to the card since we all last spoke, and it has gotten, in my personal opinion, a lot better. Because the first match that we had talked about, the triple threat match, has now become a fatal four-way. You've got Luke Lawson, Sage Phillips, and Aaron Anarchy, but now, added to the card making his return is Cole Radrick. Why did you make the decision to add Radrick into this match?
Infinite Cole Radrick. Simply look back at his last match with Emerge. He came that close to capturing the Outbreak title in that ladder match, and the kid deserves to be part of Downtown Throwdown.
I would be inclined to agree. Khris, what do you think about this particular match?
This four-way is going to be crazy. I mean, I've been in the ring with all four of these guys. I've gone against them all, and every one of them top-notch competitors. Luke Lawson, Sage Phillips, Cole Radrick, and Aaron Anarchy, all the best of the best, really.
Now, it's interesting because we're in a position where all four of these guys used to be a part of tag teams in Emerge. And as a matter of fact, two members of this match were a tag team together. You have been a partner and then subsequently foe of many people over the years. Yep. And now a guy that you're on really good terms with, which we will get to, in Jeremy Hadley, used to be your arch rival in Emerge. What is it like going against somebody you know inside and out so well?
I think it makes it harder. You got somebody that knows what you like to do and knows how to counter it, and then you have to try to do the same thing with them. So seeing Cole Radrick and Sage Phillips go at it is going to be insane because they know what the other one's thinking before they think it.
Mm-hmm. And
let me ask you, as a competitor, two people who used to be in a tag team, they could potentially work together to go against the other two guys. Is that a disadvantage for
Luke Lawson and Aaron Anarchy?
Aaron Anarchy?
It possibly could be, but I think there's some tension and bad blood between Cole and Sage right now. So I don't know if they're going to team up so much, but one of those two guys better break out something new to get the advantage.
And I think it's fair to say that Aaron Anarchy is fighting an uphill battle, not just because of the quality of competitor that he's facing, but primarily during his career, and he'd tell you this to his face, he's been a tag team competitor.
Right, yeah.
Oddly enough, 2 years ago at the first Downtown Throwdown, which you had to miss, Aaron faced Cole in actually one of the better matches of the night. And so he's shown that he can do the singles thing, but just I guess my question is, how different is tag team versus singles, and how do you have to, what do you have to do to transition between the two?
Basically, what Anarchy has to do is he has to find his confidence. He knows he can do it as part of a team because he has that safety net there. If he gets in trouble, he knew he could always tag Damian Cole in. He knew that his partner was there. Now he doesn't have that. Now he has to stand on his own 2 feet and fight. And Aaron Anarchy can do that. He's that good of a competitor. He just has to find that inside himself.
Yeah, and I watch a lot of Aaron Anarchy's work in Emerge and elsewhere, and I think he has found an edge here recently that is going to really, really benefit him.
He's a little more gritty lately.
I tell you, since he shaved off that mohawk the first time, I don't know what it is, but he's just got a new attitude about him.
Yeah.
Looking at these 4 competitors, let's not beat around the bush. 3 of them are smaller guys. Does that give Luke Lawson a substantial advantage going in?
I don't think it gives him a substantial advantage, but I think Luke has the advantage. Recently, I was in the ring with Luke, and he hits hard. He hits real hard. And he has a lot of things that people haven't seen yet in his bag of tricks that I think he's going to bust out at Downtown Throwdown.
Yeah, that's one thing about Luke is that while he is by far the biggest guy in this match, you get a lot of guys like, and no offense to any of these guys, but Jacob and JD and some other of the bigger guys, and they are their best, they feel a lot of times, when they're not being taken off of their feet.
Right.
And Luke has no problem throwing himself around the ring, getting a little hurt, and he can fly with the best of them.
Right.
So it's all. What I've always seen is that, when you had your match with Luke recently, it was very hard hitting. I've seen Luke take on people and be more athletic. He bills himself the sharpshooter. Any contract killer is going to size up his prey, per se, size up his target, and play to the strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, he does his homework. He doesn't sit around at home and do nothing. He's in the gym constantly, and he's constantly doing film study, watching who he's going to face next.
So, with the caliber of talent, no pun intended, with the caliber of talent that's in this match, what is this going to do for the winner?
I think, not pushing anything here, but I think that the winner of this match could potentially jump up in the ranks of the Outbreak title. I think this elevates them to that level and pushes them in that direction.
Speaking of elevation, 2 people who are looking to be elevated somewhat to a regular roster spot on the Merge, although Trevor Court has definitely been around, especially the last few months, but Trevor Court versus Johnny Justice. Of course, Johnny Justice won a pre-show match a couple of months ago, and as such, he's getting his shot on the main show of Downtown Throwdown 3, the biggest show by far in Emerge history, and don't worry, we're going to talk more about the event itself soon, but what do you see? I know, I would say Johnny Justice considers you one of his mentors.
Right.
And he relies on you to help him out a little bit. What have you, because a lot of the Emerge family here doesn't know as much about Johnny Justice. What can we expect from this kid?
Johnny's a good kid. He works hard, and he studies his craft. But I think we're going to get a lot of nerves from him at first. This is the biggest show that we do. Even the top guys, not to say anybody's below anybody else, but even the guys at the top of the card.
Speaking of somebody who's in the main event.
Right. It's nerve-wracking. Yeah, I mean, we have the biggest crowd of the year at this show. So Johnny has to settle down. He has to get in his groove and fight his fight and do things his way.
Because if he shows even 1 ounce of nervousness, Chris Lowe, Trevor Court's going to take advantage.
Yeah, any nervousness, any hesitation, Trevor's going to be on it.
Yeah, as we've shown with Trevor Court in the past, you show any ounce of weaknesses and you can end up being pile-driven through a table off of the apron. Yeah, no, because as I mentioned here before, and a lot of people don't know, back in both of the locker rooms, we have TVs set up so that people can watch. And if you were close enough to the curtain when Mark Vandy went through that table, you could hear people screaming.
Yeah, it was gross. We really thought that Vandy was done at that point. It was just brutal. I mean, Trevor Court is a beast.
Yes, but he did not end up getting the Outbreak Championship, and he is still hungry. He believes, and I would be inclined to agree, that he is better than what he has shown in Emerge.
Oh, yeah. And I think that his loss in that match has motivated him. It's put a bigger chip on his shoulder to come in and dominate.
So, next match up is one that has a lot of bad blood in it already. And these guys have only ever, I think, fought each other once, but they tried to team together, and it ended up losing them the Emerge Tag Team Championships. I'm talking about Jerry Andrews and Austin Tyler Morris. Now, in a title match, the tensions are very high. When you perceive that somebody has lost you that championship match, what is that like when it runs through your head?
It really angers you. It makes you see red. You want to go after whoever cost you that opportunity. I think Austin Tyler Morris may let his emotions get the better of him in this one. He shouldn't take Jerry Andrews lightly.
Of course, Jerry Andrews, though, thinks that ATM is the one who dropped the ball. ATM thinks Jerry Andrews dropped the ball. The fact remains, however, when BAD won those championships, Chris, only one man shook their hand, and that was ATM.
Yeah. You got to wonder if it's a new leaf has been turned of sorts for ATM and how that's going to affect his wrestling style going into this match.
Well, as head of production, I have a chance to talk to everybody, every wrestler before every show, and ATM is showing a little bit of a new attitude. That being said, however, I mean, you can confirm, Jordan Cage is going to be ringside. He's not medically cleared to compete, but he is going to be in ATM's corner. Chris, what do you think is going on with Pretty Perfect right now?
I'm not real sure. I've noticed a little tension between the two of them lately. But I think that's just they lost the tag belts. They had somebody else involved in losing the tag belts. So, of course, that's going to create a little bit. Brothers fight. You know what I mean? That's what they do.
Yeah, but reading from Jordan Cage, I almost feel like he's not nearly as mad at ATM for losing the titles as shaking BAD's hand afterwards.
He might be a little upset about that, but that could just be a little tiff between them. You know, we don't know. I think having Jordan Cage in ATM's corner is definitely a benefit to ATM at this point.
Chris, anything to cover before we move on from this particular match?
I agree with Chris. Having a second out there is always a benefit. It's just going to be curious to see if the bickering is going to continue during this match.
Yeah, but I think we're going to see an entirely new ATM this particular night. I mean, for him to go so far as to face Jerry Andrews, somebody who he hand-picked. I mean, I think it's obvious that these guys agreed on something, and now they don't anymore. So I'm not sure entirely, but from tag team titles to tag team titles, we have BAD versus Aleister Wilde and Anthony Lee for the Emerge Tag Championships. And one thing that has been questioned a lot, people have actually been questioning Chris on this, and as a competitor, I hope you can clear it up, is why would he put together seemingly two random guys for a tag team title shot. It seems very random, but what's that like for a competitor?
Being in a merge, I don't think it's random at all. I don't think Khris Lowe does anything just randomly. But as a competitor, Anthony Lee and Alistair need to see this as their opportunity to shine. They have to go after this. And much like the four-way match earlier, I've been in the ring with everybody in this match except for Alistair. I know Anthony Lee can take anybody out with that lariat of his. 1 second and it's done.
Yeah.
BAD, they are as advertised. They will put anybody down. But Alistair and Anthony Lee have to go after this. They can't hold back at all. They have to put everything on the line for this. In my opinion, that's what I would do if I was in their situation and I'm getting a shot at a title in a merge.
Yeah.
Those aren't just given out to whoever. So you have to earn those.
And as I mentioned in our last show, Anthony Lee we haven't seen since the last Downtown Throwdown, but since then you and I have both had an opportunity to see his progression, and I think he is a much more dangerous man than we saw last year when he defeated Mr. Paul Melton.
I agree with that. I've been part of his progression. The guy put me through a freaking table, for Christ's sake. So, yeah, he's strong as an ox. He can give BAD a run for their money on strength, and that lariat of his, like I said, is dangerous. All it takes is a second, and the match is over.
And you may not have been in the ring with Alistair yet, but you know as well as I do, he is completely unhinged.
Right. Yeah, that guy's crazy.
And you can speak. You will see him walking around the common area in the back, just sitting and brooding, and it's the creepiest thing.
It's unsettling for those around him, for sure. He's coming unglued.
Especially for Dakota Prodigy.
Right?
It is very unsettling. So, next we have two guys who have a tremendous amount of respect for each other, and as I mentioned last time, they have one thing in common, and it's actually something that you have in common with them now. They lost to Zodiac for the Emerge Championship, and of course not to rub salt in the wound, although I don't know how you'd actually rub salt in a broken rib, but
right.
Both of these guys had matches against Zodiac twice and ended up losing. Apollo Star did an interview with Richie as he was exiting Emerge 19 Aftermath, and he handled his loss very well. Lennox Norris, it seems, isn't handling his losses as well. Would you be inclined to agree with that, or what is going on, do you think, in his head?
I don't know what's up with Lennox lately. I always thought he was a good guy. I've known Lennox for a long, long time. Coming up in the Midwest area, we kind of all get to know each other and run into each other. But he's always been a great competitor. He's always fought hard. And I don't know what his deal is, crying about not being on the flyer. And he's letting these small things get in his way of what he really needs to keep his eyes on. He needs to keep his eyes on that Emerge title. He needs to go right back after Zodiac. Of course, after I'm done.
Yeah.
But he needs to be right there ready to go.
Yeah, and Apollo mentioned in a video he sent into Emerge not too long ago that you're like, hey, I'm not on the flyer either. And I see it as an opportunity to work hard and fight and get back on the flyer. Do you think, though, that Lennox's attitude is taking a turn for the worst here?
I think so. I think his ego might be getting in the way of his talents. That's just kind of my view on it. Take it for what it is.
Well, Khris, on the topic of clashing egos, we have a match that has been brewing for a very long time, and it is the epitome, I think, of clashing egos.
Yeah. Jacob Johns versus J.D. Mariani. The Mastodon versus the Midwest Monster.
Yeah.
There was always a simmering tension, I think, between the two.
Well, I think they're just two men who are angry as content of character.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You got to wonder how smart it was for the Midwest Monster to pretty much blindside J.D. Mariani. you don't want to get the Mastodon mad. And he did.
Yeah, I mean, Khris, you were on the receiving end of a suicide dive from one J.D. Mariani, so you know what it's like getting the Mastodon angry.
Right.
And you two didn't even have any beef at the time.
That wasn't an issue at the time. I don't know how I got involved in that, but it is not fun to be on the receiving end of that at all.
So you have seen J.D. be at basically the top of Emerge through the entirety of our history up until Zodiac. And you have watched Jacob Johns progress at a very intimate level. And what do you... I mean, it's kind of a question like what happened with Pretty Perfect, but the question begs asking, what do you think is happening here?
I think it's two guys that think they're the most dominant guys in the company, and they're trying to outdo each other. It's anything you can do, I can do better.
We clearly saw that at the last show when those four poor, unfortunate souls.
Yeah, and Jacob had, what, 3 the prior show to that? And then JD says, okay, you did 3, I'll do 4. You know, so...
Well, JD had 3, and he was putting the beat down on him, and then... a kid dressed in tights who I still haven't confirmed his name, still not entirely sure even who he was, but he runs out from the back and he tried his hand at both of the Battle Beasts as they're trying to one-up each other, doing power slams, just cheersing.
Right? That's not a smart move. I mean, I understand the mentality of taking on the biggest dog on the block to make a name for yourself.
He got him reeling for a minute, but...
I'm all about that, but... Yeah, that's not smart at all.
So, what do you see? Because I think Nikki seems very conflicted as well. Because, JD is her husband.
Right.
But Jake is somebody she has invested a lot of time and effort into grooming. It's no secret, JD's a veteran.
Right.
He's been doing this the entire millennium. At some point, when JD steps away, I think it was very clear that she wants Jacob to, I don't want to say be the next Mastodon, because she will kill me, but I think she wants him to be kind of one of the dominating forces in the Midwest, a Midwest monster, if you will. And now he has turned on her. So...
Yeah, how does she go in that situation? It's like you said, she's
invested
if she a lot of time and energy.
I disagree with Nikki on a lot of things, but she proved that she has a little bit of class in her body by at least going with her husband.
Well, I mean, that's her meal ticket. I don't know.
Oh, my Lord.
He's at the top of Emerge for, 2 years? Just running roughshod through everybody. He's the champion. He's this. He's that. He makes her quite a bit of money. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't see eye to eye with J.D. Mariani or Nikki. It's not my thing to follow their philosophy. I just kind of see it as like the whole Khris Icon thing. If something better comes along, is she going to jump on that? Is it like a meal ticket thing? Is she going to make some money and then bail? Or is she going to stick with her man? Which I kind of hope she does, because then that gives me a chance to maybe get with JD again, and Karma can get a hold of Nikki again, and then we can do this whole thing. It'd be great. I'm always looking for a fight. Always looking for a fight.
Yeah, I can tell by the fact that you called him her meal ticket.
Well, I mean...
Those are some of the most shocking words I've ever heard, and Lurch usually sits here.
I'm trying to fill in the best I can for him. But you got to look at it from a manager standpoint. You don't want to manage somebody that's sliding down the card. You want to be a manager of champions. Mm-hmm. So, as you said, JD has been doing this a long time. It's like she's trying to find the next person to take that spot. If he starts sliding down the card, I don't think he will.
Yeah.
I've known JD a long time. Little fun fact for everybody, my first match was a beatdown from JD Mariani 17 years ago. So,
really?
I mean, I don't think he's sliding down the card anytime soon, but when he does, is she bailing? As a manager, as a businesswoman, not as a wife. As a wife, I think she's loyal. She's staying.
And It's been a while since JD's had a title shot.
Right.
Eliminated in the first round of the tournament. Could he be considered sliding down the card right now?
I wouldn't say that. Just because I don't
I thought you wanted
to
to fight.
To the face.
I thought you wanted to fight.
Hey, I do. I got more important things to worry about at the moment.
Well, Khris, as the commissioner, based solely on what you see in the ring, where do you think JD Mariani is at on his game right now? Do you think he's sliding down the card? Do you think he's about to make a comeback to the top? What do you think is going on there?
I certainly don't think he's sliding anywhere. I think he was trying to be a mentor to Jacob Johns, and I think all that's going on now is he's just angry, and I think we may see the reemergence of the dominant Mastodon. And Downtown Throwdown 3, we'll find out.
So now on to our two main events, and I will discuss the match that you're not in first.
Okay.
And obviously, I think no offense to your match, but the big story around Emerge.
Oh, yeah.
The Hellfire Club of Moore, Davidson, and James with Icon versus the Eastside Elite, Donnie Idol and Ricky Ruckus, plus the debut, of course, of Justin Wells, a.k.a. Rocky Jr. Now, when Justin got into the ring, and it was announced that he was going to be participating in a six-man tag action, you were leading the charge out of the locker room to come congratulate him. As somebody who, and you're actually wrestling with one of your heroes, on this same show, you're in a very similar situation as to Rocky Jr. here, but as somebody who grew up, idolizing wrestlers and just wanting to be a pro wrestler, and you were probably told a lot that you couldn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
What is it like for you getting to see somebody so special get this opportunity?
Not as a wrestler, but as a person and as a father, seeing a child grow up, the struggles they go through, and to see their dream come true. Like, I'm not going to lie. I was tearing up a little bit ringside, pounding on the mat as hard as I could for him as he was giving his promo to everybody. And, it filled me with so much joy to be able to...
Great promo, by the way.
Oh, it was amazing. It was great. It was so heartfelt, so real, and seeing this kid get to live his dream,
Yeah, and of course, it's no secret we've been doing, thanks to Commissioner Lowe helping us with all of the news outlets around, we have been doing the news circuit with Justin. There's been QMix. We went live up to RTV6, which was amazing. And
Big shout out to Channel 6.
Yeah, just last night they did an amazing piece on Rocky Jr. And as a matter of fact, while they were there filming, I was also running one of our Emerge cameras, and Rocky Jr. and Donnie Idol had an entire training match right there in front of the RTV6 cameras, and you saw a little bit of it there. But let me tell you what, this kid is good.
Yeah.
He's good. I'm telling you, collar and elbow tie up, over into a wrist lock, reversed over into a hammer lock, into a... he knows what he's doing. He knows ring psychology, and it was absolutely amazing to watch. And I'm going to be posting that training video on the Emerge page before the show, because that was one of the... A lot of people are taking him lightly, but I think if anybody's going to get the pin in this match, it might be him.
Right. I think a lot of people are seeing this as a gimmick, as whatever, and that's not it. This kid's living his dream. This is what we all want to do when we're watching wrestling as a little kid. When I was watching Jake the Snake Roberts and watching Raven and watching all these guys, this is what I wanted, you know? And I followed kind of a similar path as him. You fall in with people that are doing this, and you try to get a foot in the door any way you can. It doesn't matter. He just happened to land in a pretty darn great company to get his first match in.
At a pretty darn great show.
Right?
So, on the other side of the script, the people who get lost in this, I think, are the Hellfire Club.
Yeah.
People are not mentioning the Hellfire Club to the point that, frankly, they deserve.
Right. They are very talented. They don't need to be overlooked at all by any means.
And they have taken up the mantra of no happy endings.
Right.
Which, if there is a more dastardly thing in this world that you could possibly say, I've yet to find it.
But if there's a team that can do it, it would be them. And they would take joy in it.
They'd pin him.
Exactly. They would utterly love to destroy this kid.
With all of the news cameras running, with Justin's family sitting ringside,
Exactly.
they will pin him or submit him and do it gladly.
Oh, yeah. They'd laugh the whole way doing it. That's just how underhanded and dirty these guys are. I have firsthand knowledge of these guys.
Yeah.
These guys, they don't care to hurt you. That's their goal. They want to put you out completely. You know, and they want to end this.
I guess they figure there's so much money to go around, and each person they take out, they get a little more of that pay share. But as you mentioned, you are getting the chance of a lifetime.
Right.
And you are going to be in six-man tag team action as well. Of course, you, your wife, and Raven versus the bomb shelter of Kaliber, Schwartz, Haley Shadows, alongside Jason Saint. Go ahead. I know you got a lot to say, brother.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Anybody that knows me, that's been around me in wrestling, I've had 3 guys that I wanted an opportunity to be in the ring with. Jake the Snake Roberts, Simon Dean, or Nova, however you want to remember him, and Raven. I wrestled Jake probably about 13 years ago, wrestled Nova, and now teaming with the guy that made me want to be a wrestler. I love Jake and his promos. I love Nova and the moves that he did, but Raven was the total package. He was the guy that was like, I'm doing this. This guy can do this. I can do this, so now I'm doing it.
And still is. I mean, we have both been in correspondence with Raven, and he is excited for this. He is absolutely ready to go. And this match is going to be contested under Raven's rules. So with that being said, let's transfer over, and let's do some questions. Everybody, get your questions ready to go for Khris,
right.
And we are going to have our assistant deliver them to us somehow, and we are going to talk here. But the first question that we've been asked about a lot is, what is Raven's rules?
Raven's rules are simply whatever Raven wants it to be. I mean, it's what the title says. It's his rules, what he picks. I've been talking with him lately. His rules are weapons are allowed.
Of course.
That's perfectly fine.
Looking forward to it.
Exactly. I am so amped for this. It is not funny. Weapons are allowed. If Haley Shadows or Karma tags in, then the other male has to get out, and the female has to come in. So it's female, female. And it has to be one person in the ring at a time. That's what Raven wants. To keep things fair, to not give the upper hand to the bomb shelter, who will utilize Jason Saint. I know this better than anybody.
Because typically in Raven's rules matches, there was a lot of outside interference, and there was a lot of melee. But in this particular case, you know, it's got to be 50-50.
Yeah.
That's the only way anything is going to get resolved here.
Exactly. And that's the way he wants it, so that's what we're going to give him.
So I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked you when I called you on our last show. You bring in any toys?
I have a few toys lined up. I'm ready to go, man. I'm not taking the bomb shelter lightly. I know Joseph Schwartz and Zodiac and Haley Shadows all are the best of the best. They're at the top of Emerge right now. I mean, Joseph Schwartz is making his debut, but I've seen his work elsewhere.
He's crazy good.
He is damn good. He is.
And he
really
and
good.
Zodiac as a team,
Crazy.
better.
Right. So I'm not taking him lightly. I know this is a fight. I know that I'm going home at the end of this beat up and bruised.
Possibly a little
broken
bloody.
again. Probably a little bloody. Maybe broken again. You know, it is how it's going to be. It's going to be a fight. I don't think this is going to be a wrestling match that's going to be a 5-star. Dave Meltzer going to make it a 6-star match, anything like that. It's going to be a fight. So I have toys. I'm ready to roll. I'm down with whatever anybody
they have
brings.
toys.
Yeah, I'm ready. Bring it. I'm down.
I imagine the worst part is just the waiting.
Oh, the closer it gets, the more the nerves are working, the more excited I'm getting. I can't wait for next weekend to get here.
Yeah, because Saturday night is going to absolutely be a fight. But Friday night's going to be a comedy show. And while we're here,
yes, sir.
While we're here, we may as well plug it.
Right.
Raven is going to be doing some stand-up comedy in Seymour the night before. You know a little more than I do about it.
Yeah, he will be in Seymour on August 4th. I have shared the event page several times. If you need it, go to my Facebook page. We can share it on the Emerge page, I'm sure. Tickets are $17, I believe, for VIP.
And honestly, that might seem a little steep at first glance, but sweet Jesus,
It's not.
Raven telling road stories
Right?
for 30 minutes is priceless,
Exactly.
let alone a whole show.
I mean, he's sitting there for his event, his thing, and he even said it himself. You know, he's not the best, but he's pretty funny. But yeah, I'm down for the road stories. I want to hear. I want to pick his brain. I want to get.
Trust me, we will be there VIP section.
Oh yeah, I already
as
got my tickets.
Fans,
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I'm there already.
I believe the East Side Elite are going to be making an appearance that night as well in the crowd. So
A large contingent of Emerge will be there, from what I understand. Like, it's going around. Everybody's stoked.
maybe
for it,
the
man.
bomb shelter will show up.
That would be amazing. I'm looking forward to that happening. Let's see if they try to interrupt that.
Cannot confirm.
I have no idea if they're going to show up or not, but if they want to show up and try to ruin things, yeah, I'm sure we can work something out.
Chris, any questions for Khris?
You mentioned being able to work with one of your idols. Is this something you mentioned Jake earlier? Did you think this is something that was going to actually happen?
No, not in a million years. I didn't think that I would ever get to wrestle with Jake or Nova or Raven. I mean, I'm a punk kid from Columbus, Indiana. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up here. I never thought I'd get to do what I do. You know, I got into wrestling hoping one day I would. And to be able to meet so many great people in this business, people that I watched on TV, people that I grew up watching, and become friends and peers with these guys is amazing.
If I remember correctly, you lost to Jake via DDT.
I did.
You beat Simon Dean via DDT.
Yes, sir.
Raven's Hallmark, even flow DDT.
Yes, sir. It's 1-to-1 right now. The DDT is following me around in my career. The issues with Hadley started with the DDT. You know, it's following me. It's destiny.
I guess speaking of Hadley, where are you two at right now? Like, we have seen a transformation over the past 3 months between you two.
We get along. Let's put it that way. We get along. There's a...
Hold on, just say this. I get along with Jeremy Hadley.
Would that make you happy?
It would make me happy.
I personally do get along with Jeremy Hadley.
Never think you'd see it?
Never.
Things that happened in the past are in the past. Common enemies and situations will make the most unlikely pairings possible. And the Hellfire Club is kind of what did this whole thing.
Are you BFFs? Do you hang out on the weekends?
No, we don't.
No, you don't.
We're too far away. It just doesn't work. He's like 3 hours away from me, dude.
Best friends would make it work.
I mean, so we're not best friends.
Gotta admit, I'm a little disappointed.
Right? I am sorry that I can't put the whole little thing on it. But yeah, we're...
Well, now that we're here, for those of you... You know, Chris, we're going to know who was watching the Facebook live stream and who wasn't.
Yep.
Because there are going to be a large contingent of people, probably, that are not going to hear this, that are going to walk into a very confused wedding. Ever since we spoke to you last, we have an announcement to make.
Yes.
And that is that due to a couple space constraints, we have made the decision to move downtown Throwdown a block.
One block.
So where we're usually at right there by the CB and the garage, and I think there's something else there
like
too.
Taku's down there in that area. That's an awesome place to eat.
Where we're usually by there, we're going to be on the other side of Washington, there by 4th Street Bar, and 4th Street Bar was amazing.
Absolutely.
And they rolled along with letting us do it, and we think it's going to be a little bit of a better spot. We're going to try it out. You might see us move back. You might see us move somewhere else next year. Downtown Throwdown's still happening next year. I can guarantee it either way. But that is where we are going to be for now. And I'm excited. We're going to be able to pack a lot of people into that street. But the main thing I want to tell you is don't go to where we've had it the past 2 years, because there is going to be a wedding there that day, and they do not need a bunch of people in Raven shirts.
But how memorable would that wedding be, though? Like a big contingent of wrestling fans just show up chanting for Raven. Like,
You're hardcore.
right? It'd be amazing. Don't do that. Don't ruin these good people. I don't know who's getting married, but
you
please
know
don't do
who
that.
watches these shows.
Right,
Why
yeah.
are you giving them ideas?
Yeah, because that's what I would do, I guess. I mean, I'm a mischievous guy, so...
So, Khris, actually, one thing I've been wanting to watch you, as you have become commissioner of Emerge, past 2 Downtown Throwdowns, you have been behind the microphone. This is your first one as the boss. What's that like?
Nerve-wracking.
A little closer again.
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah, you're better now.
All right. Yeah. Like you mentioned, the first 2, part of the show, but to actually be in charge this time around, it makes you realize all the work that it's got to be done. Not only the wrestlers themselves, but the behind-the-scenes stuff, getting a spot on 4th Street, stuff like that.
Puccini's is there too.
It's a good place to eat. I love it.
So I did want to take this opportunity to again thank 4th Street Bar and the city of Columbus.
I'm going to bring up your channel just a hair.
All righty.
Be entertaining. He's asking a lot.
No joke.
All right, yeah. Sorry for putting you on the spot with that whole Raven thing at the end of the match with Zodiac there. That's kind of...
Well, you know what? It all worked out in the end.
I think the fans are going to enjoy it.
I think so.
I really do.
So how are you?
I'm great. I'm a little tired, but I'm okay.
Good.
Doing that 3 hours of sleep a night thing just is not working anymore.
At least you're
Workhorse.
Yeah, exactly. It's 3 hours, back up, back at it. Work all day, come do Facebook Live videos with these guys, and
Go home and sleep.
go home and get some dinner, get a workout in, and go to bed.
How do you think you're doing so far, Khris?
To be completely honest, I could have made some better decisions. I've let some guys go to the ring when they probably shouldn't have. But honestly, I would give myself a B-. Definitely could improve. We could have done a lot worse. So
That's pretty nice, considering his ego has its own gravitational force.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, it really is. He didn't put himself on the pedestal that, most people probably would have thought. But, yeah. I mean,
I am amazing.
Right, yeah.
There it is.
It's the hair and the suits. You
Right.
can't battle that.
Yeah, absolutely true. So let's take a minute here and let me go personally check. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to take my headset along with me, and I am going to see what our fans have in store for us. And I know some
I'm really
very
gonna
nice
miss that
people
headset.
usually watch these.
The headset was great.
It was amazing. That was the best headset over here.
All right, the first question I'm seeing is, can we light off fireworks? I'm going to go ahead and say no, that's not a good idea.
Fireworks? Really?
Really.
Really? Fireworks? I mean, do we have a budget for pyro? Nope.
Aaron Anarchy wants to know when you two wrestled.
We haven't. I think, well, wait. We were supposed to, but it ended up he wasn't there. So it
was afraid?
I don't think he's afraid.
Oh.
I mean, I didn't say that. Why? But
You implied it.
I don't know. I've wrestled a lot of people in 17 years. We could have had a match. I like Smalls. He's a good guy.
Another comment from Aaron. Emerge. Pro wrestling, wedding crashing. Again, don't do that.
Don't.
Don't crash the wedding. They're going to hear us from our end of the block anyway, so that's going to be bad enough.
Johnny from the Hellfire Club would like us. I misspoke earlier. Davidson not in the match. Stratland is in the match. So that is going to be one thing. How did I not mention this yet? Hold on. Let me go back over here. Duck under.
You're
my
running
cord.
this ship.
Yeah.
Hey, the headset's back,
Right? Headset's amazing. I love that headset.
So, a few hours ago, Facebook.com/Emerge Wrestling, YouTube.com/Emerge Wrestling.
You plugging like crazy. Look at you.
Interesting video. Mick Foley,
Mick Foley. That guy.
another ECW, WCW, WWE legend,
Right.
Hall of Famer. We got the opportunity, and of course, many people know that Mick Foley's son is on the autism scale and deals with a lot of the same issues that Justin does.
Right.
And we reached out to him and we told him what was going on, and he was more than gracious enough
Right.
to send Justin a little bit of a word of encouragement. And today, Donnie Idol and I were in the DSI gym working with Justin, and I got the opportunity to show him that video when he saw it for the first time. And we taped his entire reaction, and his reaction will be posted tomorrow.
Awesome.
On YouTube and Facebook, and that was one of the more special moments
That is awesome.
that I've ever gotten to witness. A lot of people, Justin calls himself Rocky Jr., but right up there at number 2, Shawn Michaels and Mick Foley are fighting
Right.
for that number 2 spot. And it's amazing, and we can absolutely confirm, Justin, there's a lot more where that came from.
Oh, yeah.
A little tease.
Little tease, that's
He's good
right.
at that.
And how great of a guy is Mick Foley?
That is awesome, isn't it? That
He
is
didn't
like-
have to do that.
And in our discussions with Mick mentioned he would love to come to Emerge sometime.
Exactly.
So, post, tweet, tag Mick Foley. Tell him you want to see him in Emerge.
we need him
Because
at
the
Emerge.
I'll tell you, I'm going to be very honest with you. The mutual interest is there. We got to figure this out, and it would not be surprising if too long from now you saw Mick Foley in Emerge.
Yeah, all it takes is a phone call and the right negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be here.
And tell Mick you want to buy an autographed sock.
Exactly.
I have an autographed sock.
I have an autographed book from Mick Foley.
I have a sock. Sock's better.
He sent it to me. I won a contest to his.
I really.
Yes. Yes. He
No,
had a
please
contest.
continue the
He had
story.
he had a contest on Twitter, and he was giving away free copies, autographed of what was it? Tatum Brown, I think it was.
Oh yeah, his
Yeah,
children's
the
book.
not wrestling book, the offshoot deal, and yeah, I ended up landing one of those, and
bet
it's
that was a really
proudly
nice day.
displayed on my mantle next to all the Walking Dead stuff of my wife's. Is
And
my
who
stuff.
who would have thought that Mankind would have ended up being a children's book author?
Right? He is probably one of the nicest guys I think I've talked to. He really, it's like we said, he didn't have to send a video. He's a legend. He doesn't have to do anything if he doesn't want to. He's Mick Foley.
Yeah.
And
Especially, considering he's trying to search for a new job right now because of the whole Raw GM thing,
Right.
and
yeah, he's just a good guy. There's good people in this business.
speaking of good people, let's talk for a little bit about DSI. We're going to be benefiting DSI. We got the opportunity to present a $1,500 check to them
Nice.
after Emerge 2. This is going to be the 23rd Emerge show.
Right.
We're trying to double it.
I think we can.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing about it. I'd imagine, and I'm not trying to throw out numbers that aren't going to be hit, but I'd imagine 1,000 people are going to be here.
It's quite possible.
That means if everybody gives $3,
Yeah. And we
everybody
have the
gives
best fans.
a 5, we've almost doubled.
Yeah, we have the best fans.
Not only that, we are going to have a lot of really good raffles. We've gotten a lot of really good stuff from really good businesses to raffle away. And Guitar City, I just went there a few days ago and picked up a guitar that they have donated. The guitar is nearly a $300 guitar, and with the case is a really good case, so it's probably $400 in value.
Wow.
And I've got a video of him playing it that I'm going to post to the Emerge Facebook and YouTubes. It plays like a dream. It's beautiful. And at the show, I can confirm as well, I have a buddy who is a very, very good guitar player. His name's Phil Klinker. Literally, he was in my TV classes at East, and our teacher did the joke of like, "Can you play Stairway to Heaven?" He's like, "Turn it on." Note for note, the entire thing.
That's a rough song.
And he is going to be playing the national anthem for us on that guitar at the show. So you're going to be able to hear firsthand how much of a great guitar this is. And not only that, Taku, Puccini's, all of the places right there along 4th Street, and everywhere around Columbus. We have gotten so many amazing donations to get put into this raffle. It is, if you spend $50 on raffle tickets and you end up winning, you're going to get your money's worth 5 times over at least.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and
all the money goes to a great cause.
Yeah, all of the money is going to DSI, and not only that, we may as well be able to confirm this too. Raven is going to be doing autographs and pictures during intermission, and part of that money is going to DSI because Raven is awesome.
Yeah, he is pretty awesome.
So come and support everybody, and Rocky Jr. will most likely be signing autographs after his match.
I'm sure he will. That kid is a star already.
Yeah, and how amazing has this whole thing been to watch? Because it's one of those situations where we do a lot of shows.
Yes.
And, I mean, I've been talking with a lot of our street team who goes out and does things for us, and when you get there doing month after month after month, it gets to be a grind.
Oh, yeah.
And you get to, like, you're cranking out shows, and you love doing it, but sometimes it's really nice to watch something explode that is way bigger than you, and that is bigger than the business.
It's organic. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when we were, and, you know, I was in that meeting, you were in that meeting, Khris, when we were talking about who we wanted to benefit for this particular downtown throwdown. Donnie Idol, who's on the board, says, I've been working with Justin. Let's let Justin wrestle. Let's let him live his dream right in the middle of the street at downtown throwdown. And to boot, let's benefit DSI along with it and be able to show, because they do amazing work at DSI. Yeah. But when it all comes down to it, it's about the clients at DSI. It's about bettering their lives. And you listen to people from DSI, and, like, Justin is an entirely new person now, I'm being told. He was quieter before, but now he's talks to everybody. He's got a great personality. And actually, one of the people we work with very closely at DSI told me that she printed out the flyer for him to see for the first time, and he just sat there and stared at it for 10 consecutive minutes. Didn't move, didn't blink.
The kid's head's got to be spinning.
And then she left and came back like 10 minutes later, and he was doing his work, wiping a table, still looking at the flyer.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think, this kid has dreamt of this. This is what he wants.
Yeah, and let me tell you what. Ricky Ruckus always has an amazing entrance.
Oh, yeah.
Donnie Idol always has an amazing entrance. But for the Tiger, Rocky Jr., you can only guess what song this young man is going to be making his entrance to. And I am so excited to watch 1,000 people chant his name. Of course, what that means, though, is that you got to be there. we're not just talking about Rocky Jr., we're not just talking about Raven. 8 matches, each one of them can steal the show.
Oh, yeah.
There is not a bad match on this card. I'd like to believe that Emerge has never had a bad match on one of their cards.
It's the best of the best, always.
But that is what we're looking at. We've got the 4-way between Radrick, Phillips, Anarchy, and Lawson. Trevor Court versus Johnny Justice. Jerry Andrews versus Austin Tyler Morris. Alisher Wild, Anthony Lee versus BAD for the tag team titles, which is the only title match, actually, on this show. All the other champions are involved in 6-man tags. So that is... I mean, Outbreak champion, Women's champion, and Emerge champion all involved. So the tag team championships, that's the only chance you're getting to see a title possibly change hands. Lennox versus Apollo, JD versus Jacob, and that's just going to be like... That's going to be like if you jousted with tanks.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's the only way to describe that.
Then, of course, Hellfire Club versus the Eastside Elite with Rocky Jr., Bomb Shelter versus Raven, Kaliber, and Karma.
So weird to hear that.
I know.
So
You're actually standing
that,
right
yeah,
here. Sitting. But either way, Khris, you have anything else to ask of Mr. Kaliber before he and I excuse ourselves?
You mentioned that it's so weird to hear that. How's it going to feel being in the ring with him?
It's going to be emotional. I mean, like, I have to have the best match of my career. I cannot suck at this event at all.
Yeah, we were talking about before the camera started rolling.
I cannot have a bad match.
You don't want to be a road story of Raven.
Exactly. I don't want to be on one of his podcasts as a story of this god-awful guy that he had to team with.
Right. I mean, one of our merch guys was showing me and the Eastside Elite one time of Jim Cornette was booked at a less than reputable show around this county at one point, and somebody asked him what was the worst show you ever were at, and he talked about it.
Oh, yeah, we're going to avoid that.
Yeah.
I am working my butt off to make sure this does not happen.
Yeah. So, no pressure.
None at all.
All right, let's hit the showers. Khris?
And I did want to say, before you go, thank you very much. I can honestly tell the fans, Raven would not be here if it weren't for this man. So thank you very much.
That's my pleasure. This company deserves the best of the best. They deserve the biggest names. They deserve the best talent. We're the best show in the Midwest.
And, of course, thank you a million times to QMix for helping us promote this event. They gave us so much advertisement. They helped us out so much. Thank you guys so, so much. That being said, Khris, if you want to scoot over into my spot, let's end this thing out.
On your lap?
No, I'm going to go.
No, I'm going to... Yeah, the whole lap thing. That kind of...
Come here, Khris.
So you want me to come with you?
No, that's okay.
Yeah, you do it. I don't know.
Well, folks, I don't know what more can be said. 8 great matches set for Saturday night, August 5th. That was loud. 8 great matches set for Saturday night, August 5th. Going to see BAD defend the Emerge Tag Team Championships. We got double main events, both 6-man tags. Hellfire Club versus Donnie Idol, Ricky Ruckus, the Eastside Elite, joining up with Rocky Jr., and, of course, the main event, the Bomb Shelter against Khris Kaliber, Karma, and Raven. Free show. Bring your lawn chairs. Bring some money to visit the fine establishments. I'm going to give a shout-out to 4th Street. They really helped us. We hope you'll stop by and give them a little business. So until that night, we'll see you.